No, that's all right. Do I have 30 seconds?
Yeah. 45.
Okay.
44.
She said she was coming. How do you not die of heat in a sweater?
I didn't bring my phone, so it won't ring.
I'm not sitting by you. Turn it off.
She hates you.
You ran from. How are you? I'm so glad you're back.
I know. Hi. Just came to watch this meeting. See you in the morning.
There they are.
There they are.
They're kind of close.
So they were.
Ready to start?
It's 5:30.
Okay. We will call to order the January 6th council meeting for the Logan Municipal Council. And for those of you standing in the back, there are a few chairs closer to the front if you want to try to make your way up here. But we are going to start this evening with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you will please all rise, and I will lead us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry.
No worries.
We're going to start our agenda this evening with the oath of office. We are going to do each elected official individually, and we will start with Mayor Mark Anderson. So we'll invite Judge Edwards forward and Mayor Anderson.
Raise your right hand. I, state your name,
Mark Anderson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and that I will discharge my office, the duties of my office as mayor of the city of Logan,
and I will discharge the duties of my office as the mayor of the city of Logan,
to which I have been elected
to which I have been elected
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mark, would you like a photo with anyone before we move on?
Let's move on.
Okay. We will move
I've
next
had
to
enough photos.
Councilmember Ernesto Lopez.
Please raise your right hand.
I, Ernesto Lopez,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
as Logan Municipal Council member,
as Logan Municipal Council member,
to which I have been elected
to which I have been elected
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Would you like a chance to take a photo? We'll
You
move
can
next
tell you're a
to.
photographer.
I took a photo when I got elected in front of.
Please someone take a photo.
What was that?
Please someone take
You
a
can.
photo. Okay, thanks.
We'll move next to Katie Lee Coben. You even brought your camera.
Please raise your right hand.
I, Katie Lee Coben,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
and I will discharge the duties of my office
as Logan Municipal Council Member,
as the Logan Municipal Council
to
Member,
which I have been elected
to which I have been elected
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Photo for him. Thank you. Oh, he's got it.
Temporarily disabled.
Congratulations. We'll then move now to Melissa Daly.
Please raise your right hand.
I, Melissa Kelly,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
as Logan Municipal Council Member,
as Logan Municipal Council Member,
to which I have been appointed
to which I have been appointed
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
We are going to do, Mike, we're doing a photo with all of them, right?
We're going to do one at the end. Are you going? We'll get one of all of us.
At like
The invitation date?
Unless you want to do it right now.
Well, no, I just wondered if all the people here might want to get everybody at once, but.
Should we do that? Should we let the press do it?
Just
I'm good with that.
Yeah, the people who are elected, I think it would be good.
Yeah.
Tell Melissa to stay there.
Melissa, we're going to have you stay there. I have been suggested that we're going to have the whole council and mayor stand at the front for the press if they would like to take a quick photo of all of us.
No, I thought it was just going to be the elected.
Oh, you thought it was, I don't know.
I didn't need my picture taken, but it's
I
okay.
must have misunderstood. So we're going to be in the background anyway.
Yeah.
No. I guess I misunderstood. You guys go. Go take a photo.
That's okay. I don't care. Okay.
We can get in the back.
We can get it.
We'll put Mark right in the middle.
You rearrange.
I just don't feel like the draft of these photos. That was a lot of photos. Well, welcome to our new mayor and both our new council members. I'm excited to have, I was going to say all three of you, but one of you back and the other two of you new. That's right. We'll move now to our regular agenda items. We will
If
kick it up.
anybody, do you want to make time if anybody wants to leave before we start the agenda?
Sure.
Because then they,
Yeah, if anybody does not want to hang out with us for the next 2 hours, you are welcome to quietly exit now. I know some of the kids are
That would be my kill.
gunning for the door.
that's my wife wants on.
Figured they could leave while
Budget
we were.
reallocations are like enthralling if you want to stick around, so, yeah.
Rich thinks so.
Yeah, I know Rich loves it, but not everybody else does, so.
Rich, what did I tell you? You guys did not know what you were getting into, did you?
what you're getting into.
I'm working on not clicking my pen. I'm going to click my other.
I saw that the other day, the fidgeter.
I can just call her Holly now. Holly. Worked on me. It took her 2 years. The clicking comes to the microphones a lot, and I'm a pen clicker, so.
I can be a fidgeter, so let's do
Yep. Okay, we will now move to our next agenda item, when we'll start with the acceptance of the minutes and approval of the agenda for this evening.
I move acceptance of the minutes and approval of the agenda.
I'll second that motion.
Any questions or concerns?
I was about that close to like it's hard a habit to break, so it's a habit to break, so it's going to take me a while.
I'm
So
gonna work on it.
Okay, all those in favor of approval of acceptance of the minutes and approval of the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Our 2026 regular meeting schedule is the first and third Tuesdays at 5:30. Our next meeting will be January 20th here in the council chambers. Now is the time for anyone in the audience who has questions or comments for the council to take a moment at the microphone. We ask that you keep it to 3 minutes, and we ask that you keep it to comments and questions that are within the realm and purview of the council and mayor. And with that, I will open the floor to the audience.
Hi, I'm Gail Hansen. I live in Logan. First, congratulations, and I'm hoping that we have a good mix of agreement and disagreement in the council. I'd also like to just briefly visit the preamble, that we are here to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. And part of that domestic tranquility piece is to amplify all voices, especially those that are in the minority. And the pipeline. I'm concerned that the pipeline crosses a fault at Highway 89. I am not an engineer, but is there some sort of flexible joint planned for that pipeline at the point where it crosses the fault? Is there a shutoff valve? Are we addressing these geological concerns? And I won't be here every time because I already did my New Year's resolution for 2025, so if I come now, it's not a resolution. Thanks.
Gail, I'll make sure staff gets with you and answers your question for you. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Josh Muller from Logan. I just want to say congratulations to all. As I stand here, I actually feel relieved. I actually look at you and go, think to myself, you know what, change. And I want change. A lot of Logan residents want change. There are a few things that I want to go over here. I'm not going to be all frowny downy, don't worry. A couple of things I want to go over when it comes to being an elected official. Being an elected official doesn't automatically guarantee you the public's trust and confidence. Those are two different things. The public's trust and confidence is earned. It's earned over time with positive policy making. And I want to help out a lot. But two, there is a big misconception about elected officials' beliefs. I'm not saying that this is yours. This is something that I've actually observed, through politics over years. A lot of politicians believe that they are here to do what's in the best interest of the people, when in fact that is not the case. That type of belief invites authoritarianism and it invites corruption very easily. Elected officials are actually here to do what the people believe is in their best interest. These are two very different concepts. And so with that, and actually, because of Melissa, I've decided that the 3 minutes of every meeting, I have started to comprise notes that are a list of, a list of things that over the past 4 or 5 years that I've been, somebody once came to me and asked me, what are you writing whenever I come here with notebooks? Well, I've got it all. I've been doing this. I have many more folders with agendas, with notes on them. The purpose of that is to make this government more positive, to represent the people more. And so I'm going to be allocating most of my 3 minutes every session on different subjects to help you connect with the people better, because we've had a big disconnect, and we've been able to see it. And so on a positive note, that's what I'm going to be trying to do. Got a lot of good subjects, some of them funny, some of them, are very serious, and a lot of things based on policy. So anyway, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
Howdy, Patrick Belmont, Logan. Congratulations to those of you who were just elected. I'm really glad to see you all here. I've got some good news. Some of you may have heard the United Arab Emirates just announced they're building the world's largest solar array, 5.2 gigawatts with 19 gigawatts of battery storage. Just to give you a sense of scale, that's 70 times the size of what RESAB has reduced or had recommended for Logan about a year ago. It'll be operational by 2027. This is good news. You might wonder why one of the biggest oil producing companies in the world is building the largest solar array, and I would say they're looking to the future. I don't read too much into any given weather event, but it is interesting, when we see 60-degree weather on Christmas Day in Salt Lake City. That's hopefully raising some eyebrows. And one of the interesting things about this big switches between really warm and really cold weather that we're seeing these last couple of years is because it's a destabilization of the jet stream, and that is just an artifact of warming. As the jet stream slows down, it gets wilder, and sometimes it stays way up north, brings us hot weather. Sometimes it goes down to Texas and freezes their natural gas lines and things like that. So, it becomes a bit more daunting when we think about 60-degree weather this year. Maybe it'll be colder next year on Christmas Day. But on a global average, 2025 is the coldest year that any of our kids will ever experience on a global average. And that's pretty daunting, right? It only gets warmer. Even under the best carbon reduction scenarios from here, it only gets warmer from here for the next 5 or 6 decades. That's sobering. The world is a bit of a mess right now, not just in the climate, but in terms of trust, and I'll pick up on some of the other things people have said. Trust in the care that we take of each other. That's the most important thing. And I'm guessing some of you would rather I not keep coming and talking about you deciding to build 2 more fossil fuel power plants last year. But the problem is we've got almost 30 years to grieve that response now. 30 years. I'm not going to be coming here 30 years, but this is a long-term problem now that we've created. And it's a huge amount of carbon we've decided to take out of the ground and put it in the air. And I keep coming in part to give you some information about things that are going on in the world, but in part because I think we have to be done with the policy making that just gets through the hard vote and then moves on and forgets about it and doesn't acknowledge the harm that's been done. So that's what I would ask of you. As your time on council will be short. All of our time here is short. You work really hard, and I want to acknowledge that, every one of you. I'm going to just ask you again to dig deeper, to ask harder questions, to re-engage all the amazing expertise that we've got in this valley. You're going to have a lot of hard decisions to make this year. And I wish you well. I'm here to support you in any way I can. And thank you.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thanks, Patrick.
Good evening. I'm Linda Johnson. I live in Logan, and I wanted to tell you guys thank you so much. I've seen you guys run for office and spend a lot of time. All of you guys have been involved in the community on your own before that, and I have not seen an instance where any of you have dismissed outright something someone said. And I really appreciate that you guys are each thoughtful members of our community. And I wanted to show you, I found this sign today over by the Planet Fitness in the parking lot that is idle-free city, 2-minute idling limit. There are signs that Logan City has put up to encourage people to have clean air. That's such a small thing, but yet it shows that you guys are paying it forward, that you guys, what kind of a place you want Logan and Cache Valley to be. And I went to McDonald's for lunch today and found this free trail map that Logan City is posting for people to just come and pick up. Anyone in Logan City can come and get a map of the trails. I can tell from all of the time that you guys have spent in the meetings I've seen that you guys have really put a lot of thought into how can we make this an area where people can enjoy, they can find recreation, they can enjoy nature, they can enjoy our libraries, and you put thought into how are we preserving our historical stuff. So much effort on your part, and I wanted to thank you for all the little things that I see around Logan every day that make this a good place to live.
Thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
Seeing no one else coming to the microphone, we will close our public comment section. I want to thank each of you for making time to come in and talk with us and share your concerns. We'll move now to our mayor and staff reports, and I will turn the time over to Mayor Anderson.
Chief Simmons, you have some great awards to share with us today.
New mayor, new council members, old council members, thank you for this time. We wanted to take a few moments. As you remember, last August, Tree Mountain PD suffered 2 losses in their ranks when 2 of their officers were gunned down by an assailant. And that was a horrible time for Northern Utah and for law enforcement in general. We had a lot of involvement in that. In fact, we were tasked as a department to organize and coordinate the funerals up here at Utah State University. That took place just a little later in that month. I have Lieutenant Randall here. He's going to help me hand out some plaques to some of the key players and people that helped us, because literally hundreds of people were involved in putting this thing together. It was a logistical feat, and we could not have done it alone. So I stand up here and I hand out these plaques, but they're the people who really did the work. I have Lieutenant Randall here, deeply involved. Assistant Chief Hooley was deeply involved in that, and virtually every member of the Logan City Police Department was involved. I also wanted to just very quickly thank the thousands of Logan people here who lined the streets as Eric Estrada was brought home. His family lives here in Southwest Logan, and of course Lee Sorensen from Tremont lost his life. But thousands of people turned out. It was emotional. It was supportive. It was really an eye-opener. And then to everyone else who was patient with the road closures and the blockages and all the other things that took place, we wanted to just take some time and recognize 7 groups basically that made this possible for us, and they donated their time. They didn't ask for a single thing. We're going to give them, Brett, why don't you come on forward? We're going to give them these plaques. It's poor thank yous. We could not thank you enough for what you've done, but we simply just wanted to recognize you. The plaque, and Brett can show that here, basically states for law enforcement support and invaluable contributions during the memorial services for Officer Eric Estrada and Sergeant Lee Sorensen in August 2025. We'd like to recognize these people. We'll bring up Justin Allen first. Justin, there you go. And if you'll just stay up here as we want to get a group photo. Justin Allen is our Logan City Cemetery sexton. And of course, Officer Eric Estrada was buried up here at Logan City. Justin facilitated the cemetery preparation for Officer Estrada's gravesite and burial. That was a huge undertaking. We literally had thousands of people in the cemetery, and he was instrumental in preparing that. So we thank him for that. Thank you, Justin. USU Police Lieutenant Scott Murray, would you please come forward, please? This guy, I love this guy. He used to be a Logan City police officer. He was a guy I looked up to. He's like Marcia to my Jan. He's so great. He's the one who's standing in my place and not me. Lieutenant Murray, when this horrific event took place, immediately we gathered as a group, and Lieutenant Murray came up, and he was the main instigator in bringing USU on board to help in a very great way with the funeral. So he was our liaison with USU facilities. He also helped with parking and logistics. This could not have been done without Lieutenant Murray. We thank him very much for that. Daniel Watkins and Sari Teeples with Watkins Printing. I think you're there. They were awesome. We didn't know what to expect at the funeral. The capacity up there is about 10,000. And usually when there's a police funeral, we get people from all over the country. We had officers from New York, from Chicago, from all sorts of places. So we expected many thousands of people. They voluntarily gave us 8,000 funeral programs. They printed them out exactly how we wanted them and donated them to us. So we're very, very grateful for that. That was such a huge help. So thank you very much for that. Taylor Farron, Brad Clark, and Kevin Cutlip with AWP Safety. Are they here? So we were scared to death of all the traffic and what would happen during the funerals. We were worried about, you know how congested traffic is here, right? We all know that. So we were definitely worried about that. We wanted traffic notification signs up. They donated 5 large digital displays to help direct traffic in and around the events on the funeral. Very appreciative of that. You guys really helped us out, so thank you for that. Gillian Crozier and Jody Kimball with Connect Public Transit. So obviously parking up there at USU, that's an issue, right? For all the people that we needed to shuttle into the event and not be parked so far away, these folks donated shuttle buses. They donated drivers, shuttle buses, all the resources we needed to transport people to and from the event center up there, and just were remarkable. And Brett, Lieutenant Randall, he helped us coordinate all that, but that was remarkable. Thank you for that. It could not have been done without you, so appreciate that. Jordan Porter, Jed Olson, and Casey Erickson with Logan City Public Works. These guys are always shy. They don't want, recognized. They don't want to. Yeah. Oh, and Paul Lindhart, he's the boss of he's the photographer, sorry. Now, just before I say, Public Works was involved, almost all their staff. Are there more Public Works people here? Would you please stand up? All of these folks here. So we're calling these 3 forward, but it is thanks to the entire staff of Public Works. They assisted with cones, with barricades. They hung American flags all throughout the city to memorialize these good officers. Thank you very much for that. Lastly, Brandon Hanson, the Associate Director of USU Event Services. Brandon Hanson is incredible. We've worked with Brandon on many other events, but he was amazing. when we got up there, we thought we'd have to do a lot of work with putting out chairs, with, doing all the logistics up there. He and his staff coordinated all the ushers, the seatings, the rooms that we would need. It wasn't just the floor, it was like multiple rooms that we needed within the event center and the TV broadcasts. He was absolutely instrumental and made that event go flawless. And we were so grateful to him and every single one of these folks and every single one of the folks that stood up here, and the many hundreds of others that are out there that will never see the recognition that they deserve for honoring these good officers whose lives they sacrificed on our behalf. So one big hand for all of these folks. And thank you. With that, you want me in here? I'll sit in here between the bus drivers. Yeah,
I always want to. Maybe not this one.
I know you want to do it.
Gotta explain the other half of the room. I was trying to figure it out.
I have the same thought.
They were here for all of us.
We were here for you.
I know.
Still a reason I'm. We'll give everyone just a moment to filter out before we continue. Anyone that wants to. You're all welcome to stay more.
Chair Johnson, that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mayor Anderson. Make fun of Jeannie once when she's chair.
What?
Oh, they're all calling me different versions of Mr. Chair and Chair Johnson, all because I called you Madam Chair like twice, I think.
Sir.
You know it.
Well, that cleared a lot up.
Gets quieter as the night goes on.
Yes.
Thank you, Chief Simmons, and thank you to Mayor Anderson for that. We'll now move on to our Planning Commission update with Jeannie Simmons.
There is no update. Planning Commission hasn't met since November, and they won't meet until Thursday, so.
I'll hold the jokes.
Best.
Perfect, thank you, Jeannie. Our next item 7B, is actually a new item I added to the agenda. I believe I've spoken to all of you about this at this point. And we're not probably going to spend too much time on this today, but I wanted to add an item to our agenda where the council members had a chance to bring anything to the council or to the public each time. I was going to say each week, but every 2 weeks when we meet. So if you have something that happens in your board meetings or a neighborhood meeting or an event you hear about that's important or another item that you feel like the council as a whole needs to hear about or the public needs to hear about or you want to bring awareness of, this would be that chance in our meeting each time we meet. If anyone has something they want to bring up today, I'm assuming probably not. We can put Melissa on the spot over there. But we will move on. But in future meetings, this is in the past, for those that are new, we've had board and committee reports where we can update on our board and committees. But we each only updated once a month. And I felt like it might be a little more efficient and a little quicker if we all had a chance to just update on the important parts. Because sometimes we have boards that nothing important happened in the last month. Nothing drastically important the whole public needs to know about happened. Craig's checking my language over there. And sometimes we have boards that don't meet. And so this would be the chance, so in future meetings. If there's no other questions on that, we will move on to our proposed council board and committee assignments for 2026. You should have all received that in your agenda. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Teresa, we don't need to approve anything here. We just need to, there's no vote on this. No. Yeah, but everyone's able to review their assignments. Nobody has schedule conflicts, issues with where they were at. Okay, we'll move on with the head nod then, and we'll dive into our board and committee this year, which will be a lot of fun. I always
we have training with Craig.
Yeah, I didn't skip that.
Oh, okay.
I was going there. Our final council business is our open and public meetings training with Craig Carlson, our attorney. So I'll turn the time over to you.
All right, thank you. So state code requires public bodies such as the city council to receive training once a year on the Open Public Meetings Act. You been given an outline that we'll go through. I'll just touch on a few of those things in the outline. The state code did change, so I'll get you an updated outline. There's one definition that's changed, so the new outline will look a little bit different than the one you've been given. Let me read the public policy. If you get anything out of this training, this is what I want you to listen to. The intent of the act. Public bodies exist to aid in the conduct of people's business. Public bodies should take their actions openly and conduct their deliberations openly. So if you get nothing else, think about that. That's the intent of the act. That's why we have an Open Public Meetings Act, is so that the public's business is done in the public. Public notice is required for every public meeting. Usually it's at least a 24-hour notice, sometimes it's more. It needs to include the agenda, date, time, location of the meeting. The agenda of the meeting has to be reasonably specific, enough that the public knows what's happening. So just to put them on notice. Here's a question that's often raised, is items that are raised by the public that aren't on the agenda, can they be discussed? They can be discussed, but no action can be taken. Closed meetings, public bodies may have a closed meeting in certain circumstances. So these are meetings that are closed to the public and it's held just by the city council. A closed meeting may occur if a quorum is present. So a quorum in this case will be 3, the simple majority. The meeting has to start as an open meeting for which proper notice is given. 2/3 of the members present must vote to approve the closed meeting. The reasons for the closed meeting are entered into the record, and recording the closed meeting is kept. And there are a handful of reasons why you can go to a closed meeting. Primary reasons are to discuss the character, professional competence, or physical and mental health of the individual, to discuss pending or imminent litigation, to talk about real estate transactions, and there's a couple of others. But there are only a handful of reasons why. So most of the public business should be done in public eye. One last item on a closed meeting. No ordinance or resolution, rule, regulation, contract, or appointment can be approved in a closed meeting. So you don't go in there to vote, it's just to discuss those few items. And that's all I have. If you have questions arise, feel free to
That was quick. Thank you.
Best training ever. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you for that, Craig. We will now move to our workshop items, and we'll move to our first workshop item, and I'll turn the time over to Rich Anderson for that.
There are 3 items to consider. The first is a request to appropriate a donation. In fact, we received 2 donations from the same entity, one to the police department, one to the fire. The police department's request to use this donation for replacement glass on the rescue vehicle, $2,500. Fire department requests to use their $2,500 for a storage container at the fire training facility. We also have a grant for $225,000 from UDOT for safety improvements at railroad crossings, and it's our intent to use that on Second North.
Do we know what kind of improvements those would be on Second North?
We do.
The entire crossing will be improved, but specifically what's spurred it, and this might be a pedestrian crossing on the north side of 200 North, going east and west across the tracks.
And there's not currently a pedestrian crossing on the north?
No,
yeah.
There's not.
Good.
Thank you.
This item is a little weird in that we are receiving a grant to do work on a road that Logan City does not own. Because Second North is a state-owned road, so that's a little unusual that we would have funds, but since it is in the form of a grant, that's why we're bringing it to you for approval. Otherwise, it wouldn't really be our expense, it would be UDOT's expense on a project that we're doing, if that makes any sense. In other words, we don't need appropriation from council because it's not our expense. But in this case, unusual, but I said enough about
We're compliant.
it. Yeah.
And proposing.
Yes.
You got the grant from UDOT.
Yeah.
I know. They
So-
gave us the money to do their work.
I know.
That's good.
It's all.
Paul's not busy enough.
It certainly benefits us because that crossing needs the
It
work.
needs improvement.
So rather than
Not great.
quibble over who should account for it, we're going to take care of it.
And we could do it on our timeline,
Yeah.
which maybe isn't.
Yeah, exactly. If there's no other comments for Rich or questions, we will move on to our next item, which is ordinance 2601, and we'll have Amy expound for us.
I will. Let me log in since it took me.
I just got excited when I saw bookshop.
I know. Especially on this side.
All right. So I have ordinance 2601, which is the future bookshop rezone. It is located at 404 Park Avenue, west of the Bear River Head Start Aquatic Center, Cache Valley Fairgrounds. It is a 0.52 acre triangle lot with one driveway access onto Park Avenue. It is currently zoned NR6, and our future land use plan keeps it at NR6. The proponent is proposing a rezone to neighborhood center. They would like to, they're proposing a bookstore and coffee shop. So currently, we have 4 neighborhood center zones in Logan. On the top, the bank is there's a bank and a tandoori oven, and then the Herms Inn Island Market, and with a little over a quarter mile away from this proposed rezone is the Fairgrounds House rezone that was just done last year. So the neighborhood zone is more of a spot floating zone. It is for low-intensity retail businesses that have to be more than a quarter mile from each other. It's made so you can, residents and any employees that work nearby can walk there potentially for lunch or whatever reason they have. There are some things, like you can have 9 dwelling units per acre on a neighborhood center zone, but they can't be standalone residential projects. They can be built with, along with a commercial use, low intensity. You can have detached single homes permitted, but multifamily structures are conditionally permitted. There's a 3,000 square foot max commercial footprint, up to 5,000 square feet with a CUP, or a conditional use permit. You may not have drive-through lanes or windows, and the parking has to be at the side or rear, and the max height is 35 feet of a building.
That's the regular height for a house.
Yes, that's the same height as a house. Yeah, and so the applicant is asking for this rezone so that they can do this book, store and coffee shop. This is their little drawing. The X is a garage that sits in front of the house that they would take out with a parking lot to the north. The driveway on this south end would be turned into just curb and gutter because you can only have one driveway, and then they would align the driveway for the parking with the street, this 780 West.
22 stalls seems like a lot. For a bookstore.
Do you know what the minimum is for what they're asking?
3,000.
Is the house 3,000 square feet?
Yeah, the house would be about 3,000 square feet, and it's 250 square feet, so that's for 12, minimum of 12 parking stalls.
But they're requesting 22.
This is just their idea. Yeah, this is the max they can fit. So, but this isn't. Yeah, they would have to come in for design review if they wanted to go along with it. The history of this house: it was originally built as a schoolhouse, then converted into a church, and then in the 50s it was converted into a single-family home. And it looks pretty cute. I mean, it has potential. I think these trees have already been cut down. Yeah. And that's all I have.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
My only fear of this is that road, you have kind of a blind corner coming around that curve. It's already sketchy when you're on 400 South and trying to turn left onto, I don't know what that street's considered right there. It's not quite 6 West. It's like kind of a mix between Park Avenue and 6 West. But it's already kind of sketchy even on 400 South turning out onto that road. And I would worry a little bit with traffic coming out onto that road. I love the concept, I love the idea of a bookstore and everything, but that would be my concern and what we could look at to hopefully address that.
I mean, the good thing would be that this driveway would close down. That's kind of the blind driveway, and it would move up to where it's not so blind.
Right,
But with more
but it is still kind of blind because that corner, I mean, if you've ever been on 400 South trying to turn left, it is, the minute a car's coming around that corner, they're going too fast to feel safe to turn out in front of them. And so I think it's even just going to be closer. And so I would worry that there could be wrecks, but that's my concern.
Can the, since it was recommended for approval from planning, if approved here in terms of when they go to design the location of driveway or considerations of blind spots or safety, would those be?
Yeah, so engineering would speak up about this, and they were okay with aligning a driveway across from the street. They felt that it was better than this current driveway that they have.
Okay.
But they would, the engineering would have conditions that they would put in.
Right, so there would still be opportunities for that to be reviewed.
Were there any concerns from the planning commission
There were not
regarding?
any concerns with the planning commission.
I used to live in this neighborhood. You can see my old house on that aerial shot, but I won't point it out. But I reached out to a bunch of my neighbors that used to live, that still live there that I used to live by. The major concerns I heard was just traffic on 6 West, which is not an uncommon concern. And I had 2 people mention that they felt like it was overparked and they would like to see less parking and more green space on the property if possible. But all of the ones I talked to, I want to say it was, I was going to say 6 or 7, but that might kick someone off in the room. But it was around 6 or 7.
So you said that anyway.
You know, because I think that's roughly 6 or 7 people I talked to that were all in favor, but just had minor concerns with traffic and parking and walkability. But
Yeah,
as
so
we know,
with
those
the
aren't
removal
uncommon.
of this garage, they would put a porch and this whole driveway would turn into more eye-friendly.
Yeah, that might help actually because it would open that up more too.
Especially with taking out the trees and
Are there any questions or comments for Amy? Well, we'll talk about this in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome.
We will move on to our next workshop item, ordinance 2602, and we'll have Russ Hawley take us through this one.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is another neighborhood center rezone request. This is Fairgrounds North rezone, and it's a proposal to expand the existing neighborhood center just north of the fairgrounds. This is proposed by Tony Johnson on behalf of Alliance Acquisitions LLC, and it's located at 390 West, 400 South. It's currently a single-family home that was built in 1920, and the zoning is currently MR12. So those 2 blocks north of the fairground are zoned MR12. There's some public zoning as you go east with the school district, and then some mixed-use zoning, which kind of centers around the intersection of 3rd South and 3rd West. The code allows multiple properties to be in NC zones, and the maximum number of properties is really up to the city council. The island market area is 3 properties that are zoned NC. The tandoori oven and the credit union across the street that Amy just referenced is 2. But Herms Inn and the others are just 1 property. The intent is to create another food service here. The property that was recently rezoned across the street is currently under renovation, and they're nearing completion for a small kind of bakery, bagel shop. It's the same folks that are running the Le Croissant restaurant downtown on Church and Federal. An exact restaurant or user has not been selected yet for this property. And again, so this is considered a floating zone. We don't like plan these out in our future land use plans. We just say that they should be spaced out about 1/4 mile. This one is 0.36 from the future bookstore, and then well over 1/4 mile from any others. This would be the only two on the west side of Logan. So again, here's some recent photos. This is showing the Fairway Market across the street. This was a one of the old corner stores that was built and then went out of business, was converted back. This is the subject property here. It's the 1920s brick bungalow. Obviously, they would need to go through design review to take a home like this and convert it to a commercial use. There's quite a bit of building code compliance, upgrades, ADA, ramps, etc.
They're already working on it. They are already working on it.
Don't tell me that.
They are.
Past it.
I drove past. I was like, oh, they're already working on it. So Russ, can you, for neighborhood center, we had conceptually, I believe we had some limitations on size. How does that work with multiple properties across the street from one another? And I thought neighborhood center was sort of like a consolidated.
It is.
Thing.
It's limited per parcel. So you can have up to 3,000 square feet per parcel. But nowhere in the code says that, a neighborhood center is limited to 4 parcels, 5 parcels, 1 parcel. Again, that would be up to the council to determine if that consolidation makes sense. I think it's a good idea to have a little bit of synergy and maybe a couple of options, but they get to a point where they're going to be too big and they're no longer neighborhood serving, they're more regional serving, and that would warrant a larger commercial type of zoning district in that case. One example of that is the Frederico's, Beaver Mountain, the former bookstore. That one's actually 5 parcels. It's about 15,000 square feet of commercial space. And so that one is zoned what we call community commercial, which is a step up from neighborhood center commercial. Planning Commission reviewed this. They also recommended approval unanimously 5-0. Any other questions of me tonight?
What is the square footage between those 2 parcels then, the Fairway Bagel and this one?
So the Fairway Bagel is extremely small. The square footage there is 1,000 square feet.
Do they include the house that's behind it, or is that
They
not
do,
part?
but the house is a short-term rental.
Oh, okay.
And so it's categorized differently.
But it's on the same parcel, so it's part of community commercial, right?
Yes, it is also zoned neighborhood center.
Or neighborhood center, excuse me.
Yeah.
So their square footage is added into the square footage of the other one.
Yeah, it's a smaller home. It's maybe 1,500 square feet. I'm not positive right off the top of my head, but.
Any other questions for Russ? We'll see you back here in 2 weeks.
Thanks.
Thank you, Russ. We'll move on to our next agenda item. This is ordinance 26-03, and it's a right-of-way vacations. We'll give Paul the microphone over there. Sing us a song. These are the exciting ones.
Good evening, council, mayor. Thank you very much. I was going to take just 1 minute, and maybe more than a minute, and talk about right-of-way and easement vacations.
It's not like your regular vacation.
Correct. Yes, that is correct. Title 10 of the Utah Municipal Code is actually what dictates and lays forth the process of vacating a public right-of-way or a utility easement, public utility easement. So we follow that. It talks about noticing requirements. There's a petition requirement where we file a petition for this to happen, and it tells who that petition goes to, and it has to be available for a certain amount of time for people adjacent property owner to the right-of-way or easement to come and sign in support of it, and also where they can reach out for questions about it. The two main facts that the governing body, the legislative body, should consider when approving or disapproving a vacation is whether a good cause exists and if the public interest of any person will be materially injured by the proposed vacation. And for a definition of material injury, I would turn to our city attorney if you wanted one.
Substantial, significant.
And so those are the basic requirements. So going to the 900 North vacation, item number D on the agenda. This is a right-of-way vacation located near 900 North on 1000 West, going to 1100 West. It was part of the original CVE subdivision that was approved around 2009. This is, again, 1000 West. This is 1000 North. Costco is right here on this corner. Gosner's, the FedEx facility, Cache Valley Electric's facility, and this is the right-of-way we're talking about. Zooming on that is that portion of right-of-way being petitioned for vacation. The petition has been mailed out to the adjacent property owners and anybody with access to the property within 300 feet of this right-of-way. So that time has started for noticing. I've received one inquiry thus far, just more in connection to the dates and what's happening and when the public hearing is and when the action will happen. That's the only thing I've heard, other than the applicant that filed for the petition. We have worked with the applicant because as this is vacated, half of it would go to property owners to the north and half to the south per the state code. And we didn't want any of these property owners that currently have access through this to lose that. And so they have worked out a cross-access easement and also an agreement on how that will be maintained between them. So we recommended that and kind of required it before we came here. This is just showing, again, 1000 West at the top. This is the exhibit that would go with the ordinance and be recorded as part of the vacation. The entire bolded area is the vacated area, and this hatch shows where this piece would go, where this piece would go, and this one. And then going forward, this would be the cross-access easement that is recorded for those three properties to all maintain access to their property.
So isn't this supposed to be a street?
Yes, and it is currently. In the industrial area, we typically try to preserve what we call our kind of our super blocks, meaning the even gridded streets. If a development came in this area, we would typically require 800, 1,000, 1,200, 1,400 in either direction, because in the industrial area it often requires larger developable areas to put their buildings, their operations, and so they want 2 to 4 blocks without a public street through the middle of it. And so we've just preserved historically the even gridded streets and not the odd ones as much. Pardon?
Except for Gosner's.
There was a change between 1,200 and 1,300 a few years ago, just north of this. But when we worked with Shriver's and just some of the others recently, Bridgerland Technical College, to make sure that the even ones were preserved. And they're currently master planning where the odd ones would be in a one gridded area, if that made sense. But that's a good question. Again, public hearing actually in 2 weeks. Is there any other questions I can answer on that one?
So my question is, right now, all of those are divided, and they're using a street, and we're going to vacate the street? I'm not I understand the concept of the larger blocks, but where it exists already, why are we vacating it?
The intention behind the application, as I understand it, is not to change anything that's physically there. The road would be maintained, the access would be maintained as is. They would like to put a building on their lot that would be within the setback area of a right-of-way, but if it's a privately owned easement, the setback requirement would not require. So it allows them to develop their property closer to that road.
I'm assuming that's the southwest corner.
It would be...
That they're looking to develop.
Sorry, my mouse isn't coming. This area is where they would like to continue development. And that setback requirement from a right-of-way would push the building to where it's not able to function in the way they want it to get the square footage. But they'd be able to build a larger building in that footprint without those setback requirements. So they do not intend to change this road or the access. That's why we said get with your neighbor and work out a maintenance agreement, an access agreement, so you know how you're going to maintain that.
So I'll be Herm Olson, just for a moment.
Okay.
Every time we did a vacation, we wanted to know what we were giving up in terms of dollars. What was the value of the vacation?
I hadn't heard him ask it in that way exactly, but he would ask me if anybody lost value to their private property. And I would answer...
Or we were giving away something.
Correct. Right. And to the public, I would say no. And that's why we required that access agreement prior to bringing it to you. Because without that, I would say these property owners would lose value to their property. But with that in place and recorded as a cross-access easement, I don't believe they are.
But property gains value as well because of the, correct?
Potentially.
Is the city currently maintaining?
No, we don't plow that road. I'll put it that way.
So in terms of dollars in that regard,
yeah,
is what I'm asking.
We would chip seal it. If it needed stripes, we would stripe it, those sort of things. But currently, our plows don't go down there because Cashville Electric plows it.
And if changed, then they would be on the hook for maintaining?
Correct, they would own it.
Yeah, so, okay.
But my Herm Olson is there's value to that, how much ever acreage that is. That
there is inherent value there. The city did not purchase it. It was dedicated as part of that subdivision.
Okay.
So we didn't put out money to receive it. So. And that's why it goes through this process of vacation versus being sold publicly or something like that. Is that fair?
Did you receive any?
Did you not?
Sorry, it was quick.
Did you receive any concerns or comments from any of the neighbors?
We haven't yet, but the petition, the mailings would have just been received yesterday. The 10-day period probably started yesterday and will be up before the public hearing next week. And I typically bring a report of any emails I've received or in support or against it.
To save me pulling up a map, city boundary is right here somewhere.
I believe it's 1200 west in this area.
Okay, so it's a little further west.
Correct.
But it looks like Gosner owns most of what's west.
That green line is the city boundary.
Okay, yeah.
And so our right-of-way doesn't extend all the way to town? It just ends right there?
Correct. It ends there.
And Gosner owns that.
Correct.
Chunk. That whole L shape.
This whole L shape is currently under the ownership of Gosner.
What do they call that in Tetris?
It's not likely that they maintain the road either.
Do you know what is the zoning
Yeah.
in their parcels to the south from that red square?
Industrial park?
Should be industrial.
I don't off the top of my head.
Should be industrial park.
Industrial.
Was that someone I trust? Is that Russ?
That's Russ.
Yeah.
Random comment. I'm not sure if I can trust it. Public Works sees no issue with vacating this right away. I mean, it dead ends to the east and essentially dead ends to the west.
Correct. Again, given when the petition first came, or the applicant, we kind of wanted to work through our conditions or our concerns before that, and we felt like we have, so.
Would it be,
Just,
I mean, it seems like overkill to vacate the right of way for a setback encroachment. Am I off base with that? I mean, wouldn't it be easier to just give them a slight variance? Or I know Craig loves when we want to give out variances, but I don't know.
But that's kind of my question too, because what happens with future landowners when they come in? I mean, is that just grandfathered in that?
Yeah, so
they own that?
the cross-access easement is recorded on the property, and so that would go with the property when it's sold or anything like that. When you pull up the plat map of the county, it will show an access to that area.
That's going to remain,
Correct.
a new owner can't come in and change that?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a benefit to vacating this over a variance? Like, or what are the pros and cons, I guess, is what I'm trying to.
We talked through both options with the
Yeah.
applicant, and they chose this one.
Okay.
So I would say they probably saw a benefit in it.
Do you have a
It's
preference?
probably tidier in the long run. It's more,
Sure.
it's much more tidy for him to be able to get his building constructed if he owns the private road. So,
And potential future buildings,
yeah.
for sure. I'm assuming that's why they chose that.
Got it.
I don't know that I have a preference necessarily, other than, I don't know that variances are ever preferred.
Well, and
I'll just put it that way.
variances are not a given either.
Correct.
And so this assures the fact that that property can be developed the way they need to develop it.
I don't see any value in us keeping it, because we're not going to do anything with it ever anyway.
I think you already said this, but does the access agreement, does it allow them to change the width of the road?
My understanding would be that if both property owners agreed on it, they could. It's an agreement between two private parties.
But would that ability raise concerns with access for fire trucks and?
I don't know. Currently, it meets it. I don't know if I know the answer to that what if scenario.
Most of the access would come off 10th West for a fire truck anyway.
Yeah.
They're not going to go down a non-paved road.
And I think what you're saying is that both
but if they had to
properties
get-
later said, let's narrow this to 10 feet.
Yeah, I
instead
want to
of-
use more of my land, let's narrow it to.
And then a fire truck had to go
Correct.
to this corner for some
And I
reason.
don't know that
Right.
there's a city review of a change between that cross-access easement necessarily. If that would go through a city process where it would review for city fire code violation or something like that I can think of.
So how do we ensure that?
Well, Paul, perhaps you could just run that question
Yeah.
by the fire department before we review it again?
Yeah, I can. I'll bring in an answer to that.
Thank you.
Hadn't thought of that.
Doesn't fall in our wooey zone, does it? I just like the word wooey. Any other questions for Paul on this ordinance? Okay, we'll move to our last workshop item, which is also with Paul, ordinance 26-04.
This is also a vacation. This time, rather than right-of-way, it is electrical easements and public utility easements located entirely within the Cache Valley Marketplace development and subdivision, otherwise known as Cache Valley Mall or Target. Located between 1400 North and 1250 North, Main Street, and 200 East as seen here. They have several easements within here that were recorded, some specifically as electrical easements and some as public utility easements. Some of these are due to changes. You can see the yellow property lines or parcel lines. And so there's typically public utility easements recorded with a property line, 5 feet or 10 feet. And so when they change a property line through a boundary line adjustment process, these easements are often left, and then they restrict what can be built there. Through changes through their subdivision, either property line adjustments or just design considerations where they want to put buildings, and so they need to move those utilities, which, as a note, has already been done. There's no utilities within these. These would be the electrical easements to be vacated within that. These would be the public utility easements to be vacated. And as you can see, they no longer line up with the new property lines, and that's why they're doing it for these ones. The documents that would actually make this happen to be recorded look like this for the electrical easements. And for the public utility easements, there's the technical side of it. This one's much easier to understand and see.
I like colored maps, thank you.
But that is item E on the agenda. If you have any, same process, these are easements versus right-of-way. Any questions?
No, it seems like an easement through the middle of a building that's being constructed may not be
Correct.
building.
Okay. Well, if there's no further questions, we will let Paul go. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
See you in 2 weeks. That wraps up our workshop items. We'll head to our one action item today, and we will turn the time over to Rich for Resolution 25-49.
2 items to consider. The first is a request to appropriate $5,000 of a grant we received from the state of Utah to be used for the peer support program in our fire department. And the second one is a grant received also from the state of Utah. This is the 911. What is that? Utah Communications Authority grant. And there's some word about it. Basically, it's our allocation of state money for dispatch. So it's $60,123. There are no limitations on it as long as it's used for dispatch. But that is the big limitation. It can only be used for dispatch. And we have received that grant in the past. It was a lot more than that, so it's going down as others become eligible to use those funds. And I almost got the word again. There's some allocation word for that. Equitable share. No, that's what
No. So Rich, how is it going to, I mean, this is half what it was the last time, right?
Yeah.
How does that impact our ability to function with the 911 center? Do we have to alter our budget over time to accommodate the deficit?
I'm so glad you asked. This doesn't affect us at all. Because of our practice of not budgeting for grants until we receive them. This is not in our budget, so we're bringing it forward. Now, we can do less going forward, so I guess it impacts us in that way. But this is additional to our basic operations. So we'll probably use this for some training, probably use it for some equipment, those types of one-time expenditures that we otherwise wouldn't have.
Okay.
But the good news is we're able to function. We have a good budget there. This is additional funding that we'll use for the next best thing. We also do have future expenses that we need to think about, the building of a new separate 911 center at some point in the future, not today. So it could go to those types of things as well.
Not in the next 10 years, I don't believe.
Say we just spent all that.
No, we need to start planning for it.
I know. Yep.
That's why we have Rich.
Any other questions for Rich?
We have Rich.
This is an action item.
It's a public hearing.
Oh, it is a public hearing too. This is a public hearing. Thank you, Jeannie. This is a public hearing. So I will open the microphone for anyone from the public who would like to make comment on Resolution 25-49.
This is not directly related, but do we have...
Gail, state your
name. Oh, Gail Hansen, Logan.
Just for the record.
With the consideration of the Tree Mountain officers who lost their lives, are we being proactive about dedicated support to domestic violence calls? Training for our emergency people so that we have more weapons in our arsenal than guns, so that we have the soft support that can make a difference in domestic violence. So it's not directly related, but it occurred to me earlier. Thank you.
So Gail, can I just, is it okay if I say something?
Yes, Jeannie.
I know that our police department works very closely with CAPSA. And CAPSA is our domestic violence facility within the valley. And they do a lot of cross-training, and I know that they function in a very kind and supportive way in those situations. So we are aware and are doing what we can.
My understanding too, with the police collaboration and cross-trainings with CAPSA, is that we are an example in the state for, and have been a resource to other areas because of, is that correct? And so.
We led the state in lethality assessment protocol.
Yeah.
We helped develop that, and now we're spreading it to the rest of the state. It's turned out to be a very good program.
Yeah, which is great.
So.
Thank you. Anyone else like to make comment on this resolution? With that, I'll close the public hearing. I'll bring it back to the council.
I'll move approval of resolution 25-49.
I have a second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of approving resolution 25-49, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Resolution 25-49 passes. That is our only action item for tonight. Are there any other considerations that anyone else has on the council before we adjourn our meeting for the evening? Okay, we will adjourn our meeting. 6:45.
Nicely done for your first meeting, Chair.
I only skipped the public hearing. That's no big deal.
Thank you. Appreciate it. There's so much to learn.
Is that